Hello and welcome to another episode of The Kickout, the final word in professional wrestling. I am your host, the Wizard CZ. Joining me, as always, my for frequency's sake tag team champion of the world partner, never wrong Nick Bull. Before we talk to Nick, I want to give a shout out to Crander Q at Red Ape Graphics for our logo. Thank you again. We appreciate that. And Nick, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. Wrestling's been good. We've been, as all the farm crops and fields are getting picked around us, the harvest is among us. Our wrestling harvest has been bountiful. If you think about it, it's been a big year. Still a lot to happen. Good stories everywhere. There's plenty of great wrestling out there. We want to encourage you that. We might take a side on something for the sake of debate here, or we might say we'll get a show better than something, but we're not trying to stoke the flames between any WWE or AAW hatred here. I watch them both. I enjoy them both. I praise them both and I criticize them both. So that's kind of where I stand on that. But there's plenty of wrestling out there to take in, CZ. So I think I know the answer to this question, but what do you talk about?
Well, I think I need to give some hype to a couple of promotions that are semi-local or local. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of what we'll talk about, first of all, I want to promote SCW Pro's upcoming show. You mentioned it's The Harvest. That's the name of their show. It is coming up on November 2nd at the Bluegrass Community Center. So looking forward to that. You can see our good friend JT Energy and many other SCW Pro stars.
That's the day also of WWE Crown Jewel.
Yes.
So you will be able to watch that show and then go to a show that night. You won't miss either one. Correct?
Correct. Crown Jewel is a noon start time here in the Midwest and in the central time zone. The harvest begins at 6. Doors open at, I believe, 5:30. So yeah, definitely plenty of time to get to Bluegrass from your house. Maybe not as much time to get to Waterloo, but I want to give a shout out to our friends at Absolute Pro Wrestling. They have another show in Waterloo, Iowa, same day on November 2nd. So if you're in the Waterloo area, if you're in
are you recording episodes I don't know about?
Maybe a little bit.
Are they going to become urban legend of this show, the lost episodes?
Yes.
The ones that you hosted with some random person from Waterloo?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we'll work on that. But Nick, I know you had a busy weekend this weekend with family stuff and work stuff. So you didn't get to go with us, but our good friend Stryker and I made the journey up to the Chicago area to Berwyn, Illinois. I have been to Berwyn.
The Eagles Club?
Correct. The Eagles Club in beautiful Berwyn. I have been there many times.
A very renowned place in the indie Chicago scene, correct?
Correct.
Berwyn Eagles Club. Yes. So it's the place is relatively to it. Like, I've heard of it. We both know about it. And you've been to shows there before. I haven't, but I was excited that you and Stryker were heading up there.
Yeah, it was a good time. I don't want to talk about the trip. I just want to talk about the show. AAW, which I believe stands for All American Wrestling. They've been around for 20 years at this point. Currently owned by Danny Daniels, who used to wrestle at SCW Pro back in the day. But I used to go to Berwyn for AAW shows when I was writing articles for a website called Pro Wrestling Pondering. The website is now not in existence anymore. I believe there's an offshoot of it, but it's not the same. But I saw the show advertised. And on a whim, I just started messaging a few people. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I landed on Stryker, and Stryker said, yeah, I'll go with you. So I don't think I would have made the trip by myself, but headed up to the Chicago area. And I'll be honest with you, the show did not disappoint. Stryker said it best. There was not a bad match on the card.
who were some of the talent that you guys saw on the card, or what was a match or two that stuck out to you? Because that's exactly what you said to me. You texted me about it because we were texting each other late about it on Friday evening. Maybe it was Saturday morning by this point, when you were driving home or after you had gotten home, but we had talked about it. And you said that you and Stryker both agreed that there wasn't a bad match on the card. Everybody really worked their tail off.
Oh yeah, and just to name a couple people that were in attendance, I'll pull the curtain back on card subject to change a little bit. Upcoming guest in the coming weeks, Shane Boucher was there. He did not wrestle, but he was there. He's another star that we know from SCW Pro and from other promotions in the area. Friend of the podcast, Solomon Tupu, former guest here. You can check him out in his interview out in our archives over on our YouTube page at CSTC Podcast. He was in action, and I was excited for that because I had not seen him live in it before. He wrestled in a 6-man tag, and I was so excited because I got to see him wrestle in person. The event that I originally was going to watch him wrestle at, the rest of the event got canceled due to an injury, which was unfortunate but understandable. Big names, though. So there were two really good matches. Like I said, there wasn't a bad match on the card.
Sure.
Their women's champion, Sierra, faced Maggie Lee in a tremendous women's match. Everybody was behind Maggie. The crowd was super hyped, but she did not come away with the win. She did come away with a little color, with a little blood on her forehead. After getting hit by the championship belt behind the ref's back.
Okay.
But those two put on a spectacular job, and I expected nothing less. I know Maggie from Dreamwave. I've seen her work many times, either live in person or through Triller TV.
Sure.
Or IWTV, I should say. Couple of TNA talents were there in the main event. Jake Something took on the AAW heavyweight champion, and I can't make this name up. His name is Beef.
BEEF.
BEEF. Yes, Beef.
What does Beef? What's his appearance? What are his measurements? I'll tell us what's away.
I couldn't tell you height and weight off the top of my head, but he's a pretty big dude. Pretty tall. The crowd, multiple beef chants throughout the night. Beef, 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 beef.
Okay.
Him and Jake Something he's probably a little heavier on the weight side than Jake Something, but they're both big men, and this was.
I thought Jake Something. I was going to ask you, what was it like seeing Jake Something in person? Like I see him doing his work in Impact, and he looks like a pretty physically imposing dude.
He does, and it was really cool. I thought that was an entertaining match. We left shortly after, but I got to talk about the match of the night and my experience of the night. Former TNA heavyweight champion, one Josh Alexander, was in the house. He wrestled a talent by the name of Isaiah Moore. I'm not familiar with Isaiah's work other than this one match, but they put on a hell of a show, and it was Stryker and I both agreed coming home that was the match of the night. And then getting to meet Alexander at intermission. I've got a great picture. I haven't posted it. I don't know if I will, but he's very, very kind, very down to earth, very enjoyable to talk to.
You need to post that pic, man. You get to meet. That's a great wrestler, dude. That's the walking weapon, man. That's a perennial top 20 PWI, top 20 and 500 every year. The guy's a special wrestler. I thought for sure maybe he was leaving and testing the waters, but he just signed with TNA. I thought maybe for sure he was going to end up maybe in AEW, but good on him. Re-up with TNA, stay with them, be featured with them. God, he's amazing. I think he's a great wrestler. I'd like to see more of his stuff.
I would too. He's a class act, and he is tremendous in the ring. This show did not disappoint one bit. Glad I made the trip. Do I think I'll go out of my way to make the trip to Chicago on a regular basis? Probably not. I'm not a fan of the traffic. Or the Berwyn is a nice town. I'm just not a fan of driving through Chicago traffic, especially when when you're getting close to showtime and it's close to rush hour. We ran into some pretty slow traffic, which surprised me because it was the late night drive home for people. You'd think the traffic would be slow coming out of the Chicago area, not going into it. But
everybody heard you were going to be at the show. They wanted to catch a glimpse of the host of one of the hottest wrestling podcasts out there. That's what they wanted.
That's fair enough. I can. Other highlights of the show: friend of the show, Sean Logan, Sabotage Sean Logan, was in a tag match. With him and Bruce Hamilton, big dude out of SCW Pro, trained with Black and Brave, the Gentleman Barbarian. They are a team, and they later came out and issued a challenge to the tag team champion. So that match is coming up, I'm sure, in the near future. Also, even though he was injured, he made an appearance. He came out and stared down a couple people. Was Mike Hartenbauer. So
yes, I did see pics on Hartenbauer's social media shortly after the show. And that's one thing I was going to ask you about was, hey, did you see Hartenbauer? But you just told me you did. How did he look? When he was on the show, he was honest, man. He was down. He was down. He was battling things because out of nowhere, his career changed for 6 to 8 months. So yeah. I was going to ask you how he looked and what did he do, but you explain what he did. So I saw this pic of him. He was backstage with some of the talent, and I forgot to mention it earlier, but I'm glad you brought up Hartenbauer.
Yeah, and he looked good coming out. He didn't do any physical altercation. Didn't have any physical altercations. Just came out to ringside and stared a couple people down. But it was really cool seeing him. I always like seeing people we've had on the show in person, even if I don't get to talk to them. Which I usually like to. If they come out at the end of the show or at intermission, I'll usually say hi to the people we've talked to or have coming up on the show. But 3-hour drive home wasn't going to happen this time. So I apologize if you guys saw me there and didn't get to say hello. Not that you really would have cared, but I care. I would have liked to say hello to you guys. And I'm just giving you a shout out now.
Well, make sure that you do say hello to CZ at the next indie show you see him at here, wherever that may be. I think for me, it'll probably be SCW Pro on the 2nd, unless my son's playing football that day, and then that throws a wrench in things, and I can't promise I'll be there. But if that's not going on, I plan on being there.
Yeah,
I plan on being there for that show. So looking forward to seeing the boys again. Looking forward to interacting with the fans. Looking forward to being part of a live wrestling show again. So can't complain about that. Just a few short weeks away. Is that date November 2nd, I believe, right, CZ?
Yes.
So, yep. SCW Pros, The Harvest. So, as of right now, I'll be there. Plan on being there. But if my son is playing football that day, I will have to opt out or get there as quickly as I can after the football game's over. But
absolutely,
I wanted to get you on here. This is what we use this time for stuff we didn't cover on our previous show. The card subject to change. It was great having Professor Bear in the studio last week, but glad we got to have this time to talk about you and Striker's experience at AAW. Would you definitely go back again?
I would definitely go back, just not necessarily on a regular basis. They have always blown me away with their product, whether it was 12 years ago when I was more of a regular attendant, there or this past weekend. I love their production. I love their product. They do a great job. So shout out to AAW if any of you are watching. Nick, we've got another guest. We're coming back to being the voice of the indies. I'm going to coin that phrase for Card Subject to Change. I feel like you and I have become the voice of the indies around here in the Midwest, giving indie wrestlers here in Iowa, Illinois, and hopefully expanding even further like we have with certain guests. But we're going to be joined by Alvin Falcone, who is big in APW and another number of other promotions. So I'm super excited to have the gentleman who considers himself more than a conqueror on our show coming this Sunday.
Yeah, we've had him in short form on the show on the first time we did the pre-show podcast party up with Absolute Pro Wrestling, but it's going to be great to get him in studio, sit down and talk to him in long form, just about his love of wrestling, why he's in wrestling, what he loves about wrestling, what he doesn't like about wrestling, stuff like that, man. We just want you guys in here and just shoot it on wrestling. And at the same time, make friends in the process. That's what I love doing about this. I know that's what CZ loves doing about it. I believe we're coming at you at a different time on Sunday. Is that true?
Yes, it'll be at 4:30 in the afternoon Central Time.
And that's for all you. That's for all you wrestling fans, because NXT this coming Sunday night has their version of Halloween Havoc.
Yes,
and NXT's cooking a lot lately. Doing real well, and so there should be a pretty good card, and we wanted to give everybody a chance to watch it, and selfishly give yourselves a chance to watch it. Let's be honest here, we wanted to watch it and not be recording a podcast at that time. But we're glad you joined us. We're glad you're with us. If you're not with us or don't like us, that's fine. Leave a review anyways. Give us something to hang our hat on. Give us something we need to correct. But like, follow, subscribe. We love doing this because we're fans, and we love to hear from you guys, the fans, also. So if you're out there and there's something you like, something you want to discuss, hit us up on our socials, hit us up in the comments. We'll read those comments, and we'll adjust it here in the future, whether it's on the Card to Change or if it's on the kickout. Because see, if we get through here on the kickout, you know what I mean? That's the final word in pro wrestling.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.